Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Amy and I travel pretty much full time while creating content. It's coming up on my 3-year anniversary of being a digital nomad, so I thought today I would talk a little bit about how I organize my travels and my work while I am on the go. I'm also going to highlight some things that have come up over the years to help you decide if this is the right lifestyle for you. So whether you're currently working remotely or thinking about making the change and traveling and working at the same time, you are in the right place. So as a little background, in the past 3 years, I've worked in a total of 36 countries, which is on average 1 country per month, which is kind of crazy now that I say it out loud. I've spent most of the time in Cape Town for about 7 or 8 months, then in the UK for another probably 7 months or so, and in Canada, my home country, to visit friends and family for probably around 5 months. When I wasn't a little more settled in one of these 3 countries, I was spending my time hopping around from place to place and pretty much sleeping in hostels the entire time. Because I haven't necessarily planned out all of my travels in the past few years, I've definitely encountered a couple of bumps along the way, and I thought it'd be helpful to share some of the things that I would do differently now. As someone who doesn't love planning, I can tell you that work and travel involves a lot of planning, especially if you want to make sure you're not getting into any sticky situations. Depending on the type of work you're doing, you're going to have to determine which countries are suitable for your job and whether or not you can work from certain places. For example, if you have regular work calls, you might not want to work in a country like South Africa where the internet is unstable and that could affect your business. Or you might not have the budget to work from co-working spaces or co-living spaces, and you'll have to do it the budget way like I've been doing and work from your hostel. If you have a part-time or full-time remote job, it's a lot easier to budget how much money you have to spend on accommodation, activities, all those sorts of things. But for someone like me who does travel content creation, my pay varies a lot month to month. Regardless, it's going to take a lot of research to figure out what spots are good to work from, no matter what you're doing for work. And if you don't do the little bit of planning and research ahead of time, you might find out very quickly you can't work from a certain location and have to change up your plan. One major pro of the work that I do is the flexibility it offers. I can create my own schedule. I don't have to worry about clocking in at a certain time, and that means I can work in the mornings or the evenings on weekends and then use my other time to have adventures and go explore the new country I'm in. I can also save a lot of money on flights because I don't have to work around a certain work schedule to figure out what flights I can get on. I can just book the cheapest flight available and travel on whatever day. And while I personally love this work schedule, not everyone is going to love it. It definitely takes a certain type of person to motivate yourself constantly, and I struggle with this sometimes too. So it's not going to be for everyone to do kind of freelance work or working without a part-time or a full-time remote position, because you have to be very self-motivated and constantly push yourself because you have no boss or manager telling you what to do. Because my hours aren't set and I can kind of work whenever, I usually turn travel days into work days, and I try to stay productive on those days in some capacity. So that means I might be filming a vlog, I might be filming a reel or a TikTok, I could be answering emails, following up with brands and brand sponsorships, negotiating brand deals. There's so much I can be doing just by sitting at the airport or on a train. So I end up spending a lot of my time on travel days actually working. I like doing this because I feel like I'm maximizing my time, and then when I arrive in a new destination, I can get settled, I can meet people, talk to new people, talk to locals, figure out the best places to go, and actually explore a little bit without the pressure of having to jump straight into work. It can take a little bit of time to get into the right rhythm with work and travel, and eventually you'll find that slow travel is the way to go, at least in my case, because moving around too quickly makes it really hard to get into a proper work routine. So, is it easy to balance work and travel? Honestly, there have been many ups and downs, and it's not all what social media makes it look like. I have struggled a lot of times to keep up with my workload, or sometimes I'm spending too much time working when I want to be out exploring and seeing this new place. So I try to set clear boundaries with myself and block out time so that I know when I'm going to work, and that I know the other time I can actually go see things. So if I'm hanging out with new friends or going on a boat party, for example, I try to enjoy that moment and then know that I can do work afterwards. Where it becomes a little bit tricky is that I'm a travel content creator, so all the activities I'm doing, I'm usually filming, but I also try to separate it a little bit and know that certain tasks or certain activities I'm going to be doing, I will film, and others I won't. So I'm not filming my everyday. I tried to kind of keep it separate, and if I am filming a boat party, for example, I might get a few clips at the start and maybe a few at the end, and then the rest of the time I'm not on my phone because otherwise I would go crazy. Also, taking breaks is super important because you can get burnt out very quickly, especially if you're traveling at a really fast pace. I've definitely been burnt out a couple of times, especially because I go through a lot of decision fatigue because there's so many decisions you have to make when you're traveling solo, and then in turn I don't really want to make decisions with work or focus on work at the time. When I notice that's happening, I try to slow down and give myself a bit of a break so that I can come back to work refreshed. I've definitely noticed that in some countries I haven't really been doing much work, when in others I've done a lot, probably too much. So when I was in Colombia, I was doing way too much work the whole time. I had a packed schedule, so much so that I didn't really get to see the country properly. I really wanted to take Spanish classes there and I didn't have the time to do it. So I would need to go back now and properly see Colombia another time. And on the flip side, there have been lots of experiences where I've kind of pushed work to the side and had like too much time having fun, and that also is a bad thing. There's a couple tools I use to stay organized when I'm balancing work and travel. However, the number one platform I could recommend is Notion. Not sponsored whatsoever, would love to be, but I use Notion every day. Whether that's scripting a YouTube video like this one, writing out my content calendar for my Instagram, TikTok, dealing with email marketing, pretty much everything. I also have a daily to-do list where I check things off, and I'm pretty much always on Notion. The great thing about it is that it's completely free to use. There is a pro version, but I don't pay for that one. I just use the free one and it's great. I also make a point of journaling every day, and I feel like this is really good for keeping a balance between work and travel because it makes me think about what I'm doing that day, what I've been doing on the trip in general, and makes me reflect a little bit. And of course, I'm not going to be perfect. I don't think anyone is perfectly journaling every single day. But if I do miss a day, I will just come back and fill that out. Sometimes it's more than a few days. Sometimes it's even a whole week that I miss out on. And then I'll just go back and write in what I was up to and what I was thinking at the time. Also, if I'm thinking of visiting another country, I will look up some information on social media, but also on blogs to get some good insider information about like co-working spaces, how good it is for digital nomads, and different places to work from, different places to stay, like good accommodation options, and then do a little bit of research. You might be wondering if this type of lifestyle is worth it, if seeing all these amazing places, but also at the same time working makes sense for you, and it's going to be different for everyone. It really depends on the type of job you have and the personality type that you are, because for me, I love the freedom. I love being able to pack up and go whenever I please. And I love the ability to change seasons, especially because I get so cold all the time. So that is a major pro for me, but it does get tiring. There are many downsides as well to the digital nomad life. I made a whole video comparing the pros and cons, so if you want to watch that one next, I will leave it above. But you'll really have to sit down and kind of make a list and see if it makes sense for you. I've also slept in some questionable places in the past few years, and as someone who is well into her late 20s, I am definitely seeking more comfort these days, and I'm willing to spend a little bit more on comfortable accommodation because I am moving around so much and it gets very, very tiring. Regardless, if you want to try it out, I definitely think you should. Worst case scenario, if you're not having a good time, you can always go back home or move to another country. And in the best case scenario, you'll meet some amazing people. You might get some good ideas work-wise as well that you could end up starting a business with or going into a different career path. I feel like you meet so many interesting people from around the world that having this experience, even if it's for a short period of time, can really open your eyes to different opportunities that are out there. So that's all I have for this week's video on digital nomad life. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already and you want to see more content like this. And thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. I will see you next Wednesday for another one. Bye.